Minister, as you know, the CETA agreement, much of it is already been implemented, and that's where it is at. However, the part of it that we're dealing with here today is in regard to the investment court structures that has been set up as a consequence of this. And it's something that, obviously Ireland is late coming to the table to ratify this, and we're discussing it now. But many other countries also have serious concerns in regard to that. And those of us on this side of the House, basically what we're looking at a situation where we have courts in this country, there are courts in Canada, there are courts in Europe. There is already more than enough legal structures in place to deal with whatever disputes could possibly arise as a consequence of international trade or agreements or whatever. And yet we see that under this, there's an additional tier being set up. And we just feel that it is totally irrational to be doing this in the context of having our own court system here. We pass laws in this House, we bring them to courts, we facilitate services for people to ensure that they're protected, let them be protected, whether it's the businesses that we run in this country or international businesses coming here. We have a common law area. We have an awful lot of things which attract investment. And all of those things will, in my view, be undermined by setting up an additional system outside of that, which is totally unnecessary and, in essence, basically undermines the system which all of us work so hard for to try and ensure works well and is there to protect people's interests. This is the old, I suppose, difficulty that we have, that, it's big business and profit up against the common good, and we want to try and ensure where possible that both can work together, that the common good is also something which will facilitate and work with business to ensure that everyone can grow and can multiply, and that we can make the cake bigger for everyone. That's what we want to do. But yet, so often we see, and we see it in many of these agreements, that really the difficulty is that the winner takes all attitude comes very much to the fore, and that some of these very major corporations are out there to take massive profits, and if there's anything that could possibly inhibit their profits, that they will be cut down, and that they will be able to have a platform that they can in fact sue a state which wants to protect its own citizens or protect its own people from the worst ravages of the markets. And we've seen the ravages of the markets when we've seen the downfall in the economy less than a decade ago. So we know what all of this can mean. Of course, we also have a situation where, and we had the IFA and others in at the Agriculture Committee this morning discussing another trade agreement, which is the Mercosur trade agreement. And we're here today discussing I suppose, the possible negative impact of CETA. There's a lot of also very negative impacts which could come down the road when we look at the Mercosur trade agreement. And previously my colleague talked about the situation that Canada is an advanced economy. We have all these things that are in common with them. When we look at the Mercosur trade countries, it is an entirely different situation. We are not meeting or playing with the same standards that we have in the European Union, yet we're expected to import their products and allow people in Europe, for particularly the beef which is coming in from Mercosur, which will be of a much lower standard than what we see being produced by the European Union. So I think, we need to recognise that if we're going to be on the world stage, we also have to stand up for ourselves, and we have to stand up for our citizens, and we have to stand up for the citizens of Europe when it comes to the protection of rights, whether that's the protection of workers' rights or protection of food quality, which is in Mercosur's case a very serious issue in respect of that. But also we have to ensure that we stand up for the rights of the citizens of this nation to be able to make their own decisions, to have their own sovereignty, to make their own laws, and for those laws to be implemented by their own courts. And that's what we need to stand for. And where we see the difficulty with this particular arrangement which has been put in place is that it goes further than we need to go. We do not need an additional court system. We have a court system in place here, and we should stand by that. And that's why we're totally opposed to this particular arbitration amendment bill which has been put forward here today.